We begin with that breaking news out of Pennsylvania. After a 6-day manhunt, a man is in custody in connection with the murder of the UnitedHealthcare CEO.
Investigators are calling Luigi Mangione a strong person of interest in the shooting. And we are getting a new peek at what he looks like.
But he was like a leader of clubs. He was in many clubs. He was also like a soccer player. He was obviously really intelligent, and everybody can tell that by his resume, of course. Yeah.
So he's a valedictorian, and
Yeah.
then had a speech at your...
Yeah, so he spoke at our graduation. Every year they have like somebody who's, exceeds academic.
Was railing against the healthcare industry, which of course fits into the scenario here. He talks about how these parasites had it coming.
When you think of a high-profile crime, your mind probably jumps to someone with a shady past, right? But Luigi Mangione, he was the golden boy. Now he's plastered all over the news as the prime suspect in the of a major CEO. This case has everything: mystery, betrayal, and a public desperate for answers. But before we dive deep, let's break down what we know so far, and trust me, the twists and turns in this case will leave you speechless. Luigi Mangione wasn't just a regular guy living an ordinary life. He was the definition of success in high school. He was celebrated as the golden boy, excelling in academic, sports, and leadership roles. As valedictorian of his 2016 graduating class, he delivered a heartfelt speech about ambition and the power of perseverance, leaving a lasting impression on his peers. But Luigi's talents didn't stop in the classroom. He was a star athlete, excelling in soccer and dabbling in baseball, earning him admiration from teammates and coaches alike. Outside of sports, he was deeply involved in extracurricular activities, often serving as a leader in student clubs and community projects. He was the type of guy parents pointed to and said, "Why can't you be more like Luigi?" Classmates from those years recall him as a charismatic, determined, and seemingly unstoppable force.
So he spoke at our graduation. Every year they have like somebody who's, exceeds academically and in and out of the classroom, and they have them speak in front of our high school. It's weird saying it, but yeah, he was that person that we chose to speak.
It was no surprise when he graduated from a prestigious high school, securing a spot at Stanford, where he pursued a degree in finance. At Stanford, Luigi kept up his winning streak. He was seen as hardworking and laser-focused on his goals. After graduating, he quickly entered the corporate world, landing a promising job in finance. His rise seemed unstoppable, with colleagues describing him as driven, brilliant, and personable, a rare combination in the high-press finance sector. But here's where things start to unravel. Around 18 months ago, those close to Luigi noticed a shift. The one social butterfly began pulling away from his tight-knit circle of friends and family. He became increasingly distant, canceling plans, ignoring calls, and retreating into a life that no one seemed to fully understand. Some friends initially chalked it up to the pressures of a demanding job in the finance world. After all, it wasn't uncommon for people in such careers to disappear into long hours and grueling schedules. But as time went on, Luigi's behavior became harder to explain. His absence at major family events and reunions raised eyebrows, and cryptic social media posts suggested he might be dealing with personal struggles. And now he's in the headlines for all the wrong reasons. UnitedHealthcare CEO, a well-known and influential figure in the corporate world, was found dead just outside his office in what authorities are calling a deliberate attack. The news hit the airwaves like a bombshell, sparking outrage, confusion, and a media frenzy. Within hours of discovery, a leaked CCTV video began making the rounds online. The grainy footage shows a man pacing nervously near the building, seemingly waiting for something or someone. He's dressed in a hoodie, gloves, and a face mask, concealing his identity. Despite the poor quality, the figure's mannerisms and movements bear an uncanny resemblance to Luigi Mangione, once the golden boy of his community. The video doesn't capture the actual crime, but the pacing, timing, and presence of this masked individual near the scene moments before chaos erupts are enough to raise red flags. Moments later, the footage abruptly cuts to a flurry of movement and shouting in the background, leaving the rest to imagination. Here's where it gets tricky. Luigi's name didn't come up randomly. Eyewitnesses near the office claimed they saw a man resembling Luigi's build and height fleeing the scene. Not long after the incident, police began piecing together the puzzle, and it didn't take long for Luigi's name to emerge as a person of interest. The big question on everyone's mind is what could possibly drive someone with Luigi's background and reputation to be connected to something so sinister. Speculation ran wild as the story unfolded. Authorities started digging deeper, and soon more evidence began to surface. One of the most chilling pieces of evidence in the Luigi Mangione case is a 3-page handwritten note found in his possession, which police described as a claim of responsibility. In it, Mangione expressed grievances against the U.S. healthcare system, labeling it the most expensive in the world, while pointing out that the nation ranks 42nd in life expectancy. According to NYPD sources, his anger appeared to target UnitedHealthcare and other corporations he described as mafiosa, exploiting the country for immense profit. Mangione also claimed he was exposing corporate corruption and greed with what he called brutal honesty. His rhetoric, NYPD intelligence officers noted, echoes the mindset of Unabomber Ted Kaczynski, suggesting a possible ideological influence. Despite the document's inflammatory tone, NYPD officials emphasize that it does not contain specific threats to others. The discovery has raised concerns about the potential for extremists to view Mangione as a prompting strong condemnations from authorities. NYPD spokesperson Kenny reassured the public that no imminent threats have been identified, while Governor Shapiro condemned both the crime and any online celebrations of it, highlighting the danger of glorifying such actions.
Violence can never be used to address political differences or to address a substantive difference or to try and prove some ideological point. That is not what we do in a civilized society.
As the story continues to unfold, people who knew Luigi Mangione are starting to share their thoughts and reactions. His former classmates, in particular, are struggling to reconcile the person they knew with the shocking news of his involvement in the crime. James Sandberg, a former classmate of Mangione, spoke to CBS Baltimore about their relationship. Sandberg explained that while they weren't close, he did know Luigi somewhat well and described him as a nice kid. Sandberg expressed his disbelief when he first heard about the allegations, admitting that he initially thought it must be a different person with the same name. Another former classmate who wished to remain anonymous out of respect for the Mangione family told CBS News that they met Luigi in middle school and became close friends throughout high school. According to this classmate, Mangione was a nice guy and smart. They added that Luigi wasn't particularly introverted or extroverted, and that he didn't have any known enemies. He was our valedictorian, for a reason, the classmate said, emphasizing that Luigi was a highly respected student. He was just like a wholesome guy. When they first heard that Mangione was a person of interest in the investigation, they said they felt sympathetic, adding that they didn't think he was a crazy person. They also expressed hope that a public trial would give Mangione the chance to explain what led to the situation in court. Although they lost touch after high school, this former classmate clearly remembered Luigi as a good guy, a sentiment that seemed to be shared by others who knew him during his school years.
Our graduation, every year they have like somebody who's, exceeds academically and in and out of the classroom, and they have them speak in front of our high school. It's weird saying it, but yeah, he was that person that we chose.
This only made the crime and its aftermath that much harder for people to process. How could someone who was so well-liked, successful, and promising suddenly be involved in such a shocking act? In the months before Mangione's arrest, several posts on social media platforms indicated that his friends were trying to reach out to him. On the social media site X, post tagged with his account name revealed that friends hadn't heard from him in months. These posts reflected a sense of concern from his friends, who had become increasingly worried about his well-being. It seemed that Mangione had isolated himself, and his sudden disappearance from Social circles only added to the mystery surrounding him. Further investigation into Mangioni's online presence revealed some intriguing details about his personal life and interests. On the Goodreads website, he had rated and reviewed several books, including a 4-star rating for Industrial Society and Its Future by Theodore John Kaczynski, better known as the Unabomber. This raised some eyebrows, especially considering Kaczynski's controversial views on modern society. Mangione also had books on his read list from 2022 that focused on health and wellness, such as Crooked Outwitting the Back Pain Industry and Getting on the Road to Recovery and Back Mechanic. These books suggested that Mangione was focused on improving his physical health and dealing with back pain, a condition that seemed to have been a major part of his life in recent years. One quote from J. Krishnamurti: "It is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society," was reposted multiple times on Mayan's X account, most recently in January 2020. Bore this quote, which reflects a critical view of society and the status quo, added to the growing picture of a man who is perhaps becoming increasingly disillusioned with the world around him. Mang's health struggles were also a frequent topic of discussion on social media, particularly on Reddit, where he seemed to share his experiences with others who had similar issues. On Reddit, Mangione operated a profile where he detailed his battles with back pain, brain fog, and sciatica. He was an active participant in discussions about a spinal condition called spondylolisthesis, posting several times on a subreddit dedicated to the condition. A 2016 post linked to Mang's profile included a reference to a page on GitHub, a coding website where his full name appeared. This link to a personal website suggested that the Reddit profile was indeed his, and it provided further insight into the challenges he was facing in his personal life. One post dated February 2024 described his experience with spinal fusion surgery. Mangione shared that he had undergone L5-SLS1 spinal fusion 6 months prior after enduring 1.5 years of unsuccessful conservative treatments. "Yeah, I had L5-S1 spinal fusion 6 months ago after 1.5 years of failed conservative treatment. Within 7 days of the fusion, I was on 0 pain meds. That's probably faster than most folks. But my point is just that your body isn't supposed to be in pain and need meds. Even after getting my back sliced open and my spine drilled into, I wasn't in much pain," the post read in. Another particularly disturbing post, Mayan discussed using certain methods to convince doctors to approve spinal surgery. He suggested faking a foot drop or deliberately urinating on oneself to demonstrate the severity of the condition. While this may have been an exaggeration or attempt at dark humor, it hinted at level of frustration and desperation in Mangioni's mindset. Other posts from 2023 reflected his struggles with chronic COA, a condition that caused him significant pain and made him feel like his life was on hold. "I got caught in this loop for a year, all the while putting my life on hold in my 20s and damaging my nerves while I waffled on the decision." One post read, "It was clear that Mangione had been dealing with serious physical and emotional challenges, and his online post offered a glimpse into the inner turmoil he may have been experiencing. Despite Mayan's apparent focus on improving his health, there was no direct mention of UnitedHealthcare, the company that was central to the crime. However, one post from 2018 referenced coverage by Blue Cross Blue Shield, another large health insurance company. It seemed that Mayan's struggles with his health were deeply intertwined with his views on the healthcare system, and this connection could be important as the investigation into the crime continues. As with any high-profile case, the internet has erupted with a whirlwind of theories surrounding Luigi Mangione and the shocking of Brian Thompson, the CEO of UnitedHealthcare, from allegations of corporate betrayal to conspiracy-driven narrative. Speculation has run rampant. Could there be more to this story than meets the eye? One prominent theory suggests Luigi may have been financially or professionally wronged by UnitedHealthcare or its CEO. Could this stem from an act of corporate betrayal, one that escalated into a deadly encounter? Critics of the healthcare industry have pointed out its history of controversial practices, and some wonder if Luigi's grievances against the company as outlined in his alleged manifesto reached a breaking point. Others propose a more personal angle, suggesting that Luigi might have been under immense psychological pressure. Those familiar with his recent life point to the isolation and struggles he faced. Could it be that these pressures built up over time, pushing him toward a tragic snapping point? Another compelling theory circulating among Luigi's supporters is that he was framed. Those who knew him describe a kind, ambitious, and hardworking individual who wouldn't hurt a fly. Former classmates and colleagues struggle to reconcile the Luigi they knew with the crime he is accused of committing. Could someone have used his recent struggles, including his withdrawal from social circles, to manipulate him or make him a scapegoat? On the darker end of speculation are conspiracy theories tying to something much larger. Some argue that Luigi's manifesto and the cryptic shell casings left at the scene suggest he might have uncovered damaging secrets about UnitedHealthcare or its CEO. Could Brian Thompson's death have been an attempt to silence Luigi before those secrets came to light? While no concrete evidence supports this claim, it hasn't stopped the internet from buzzing about a potential corporate cover-up. No matter the motive, this incident has placed Luigi's life under an intense microscope. Every decision, relationship, and action he's taken over the past several years is now being scrutinized. Details about life are emerging, painting a complicated picture of a man who once seemed destined for greatness. On social media platform X, reactions have ranged from outrage to disbelief. One user tweeted, "How does a guy like Luigi go from valedictorian to suspect in case? This doesn't add up." Another wrote, "What if there's more to this story? What if Luigi was set up?" Amid the public uproar, details about Luigi's recent life have come to light. It was revealed that his last known address was in Honolulu, Hawaii, where he stayed at a co-living space called Surf Break. According to Surf Break, Luigi lived there from January to April 2022, leaving due to a back injury exacerbated by physical activities like surfing and hiking. A representative of the Surf Break community, Sarah Nee, described Luigi as a reserved individual who kept to himself. Moan left due to a lifelong back injury. To our knowledge, nearly all members lost contact with him after his departure, she said. Nehemiah also noted that Luigi briefly returned to Hawaii in early 2023 to start a book club, though the club's controversial book choices caused some members to leave. One unnamed source familiar with Luigi's time at Surf Break corroborated the back injury's impact on his life, describing it as a major source of frustration. This claim is bolstered by Luigi's X account, which features an X-ray image of a spine with hardware, suggesting he may have undergone spinal surgery in the past. Born and raised in Maryland, Luigi comes from a prominent family with deep ties to real estate and healthcare industries. His grandparents, Nicholas and Mary Mangione, were influential figures in the Baltimore area, known for founding Lorien Health Systems and owning prestigious country clubs like Turf Valley and Hayfields. Luigi himself volunteered at Lorien Health Systems in 2014 during high school, hinting at a potential early connection to the healthcare field. Luigi is also a cousin of Maryland State Delegate Nino Mayan, who represents parts of Baltimore County. However, his family has distanced themselves from his alleged actions, releasing a statement saying, "We only know what we have read in the media. Our family is shocked and devastated by Luigi's arrest. We offer our prayers to the family of Brian Thompson and ask people to pray for all involved." Meanwhile, at an extradition proceeding on Tuesday afternoon in Pennsylvania, Mayan was denied bail. He is contesting extradition, and Pennsylvania has 30 days to get a warrant from New York Governor Kathy Hochul to start the process. A defense attorney for Mangione, Thomas Dickey, argued that the state of New York did not provide the defense with the official second-degree charges in documents they were given, and now the defense has 14 days to request a writ of habeas corpus for those in New York. The Office of Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg confirmed to CBS News that prosecutors will seek a governor's warrant to secure Mangione's extradition to Manhattan. As Mann entered the Blair County Courthouse ahead of Tuesday's proceedings, he was aggressive and had to be contained, shouting that what was happening to him was an insult to the intelligence of the American people at his office. Tuesday evening, Dickey told reporters he hadn't seen video footage of Mangione's outburst, but said hopefully there won't be any more of that. Dickey said he was hired to represent Mangione and not appointed to the case. He wouldn't identify who hired him, and he wouldn't comment on what Mang has said to him. Dickey said Mangione will plead not guilty to the Pennsylvania charges and said he'd advise Mangione to enter the same plea to the New York charges. Asked to clarify what specific charges Mangione would plead not guilty to, Dickey said every charge, remember, and this is not just a small thing. The fundamental concept of American justice is the presumption of innocence, and until you're proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, and I've seen zero evidence at this point, Dickey said. Right now, Luigi Mangione is awaiting trial, and the world is waiting for more answers. Was this a calculated crime? Or is Luigi being framed? Why would someone with such a bright future throw it all away? The court proceedings are expected to be just as dramatic as the case itself, with both the defense and prosecution promising to deliver shocking revelations. This case is far from over, and the more we learn, the more questions arise. How did a golden boy like Luigi Mangione find himself at the center of such a dark, twisted tale? And what's the real story behind the M of the UnitedHealthcare C? Oh, only time will tell anyway. That's it for this video, folks. Bye.